What's up, my fellow lionesses and lions? Welcome to the Project Lioness podcast, where we are here to disrupt the mainstream narrative when it comes to health, holism, and human consciousness. We are here to share bold truths about health and life from a female perspective. This episode is brought to you by our team, Inspire Co., where we stand for your health being inspired by choice rather than being inhibited by chance. Thank you for being here and joining in on these raw, real, and powerful conversations. We hope our show brings you inspiration and empowerment to overcome challenges, reclaim your life, and ultimately pursue your mission with power, purpose, and play. Now, let's get into the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Project Lioness podcast. This is Dr. Mel, your host, and I am super excited to welcome our amazing guest, Brenda Iris, with us today. Thank you. Yeah, she is an amazing wealth of wisdom when it comes to the holistic styling world. So before we get into it, y'all, I got to read your bio.
Okay.
Because, that's what we do here. So for those of you who don't know, you always know, by the way, in the show notes to follow our guests. So I'll put all of Brenda's information in the show notes because she is super amazing on Instagram. I love all your stuff. But anyway, we'll get into why she's here and why I invited her on the show. So Brenda Iris is a holistic style consultant and the founder and CEO of Mindful Styling, a premier image consulting firm based in the Twin Cities. Shout out Minnesota. Brenda believes that style is more than just clothing. It's your energetic signature. She empowers women to step into a higher version of themselves with grace, harnessing the transformative power of their image and presence. She specializes in overcoming personal brand challenges and helps clients create a magnetic presence that radiates their true essence. Brenda is a firm believer that you can have anything in life if you dress for it. Yes. Welcome, Brenda, to the show.
Thank you, Mel.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So the reason why I invited Brenda on, y'all, is because one, I've had some of my own experiences with her in her business, and I'm super excited. I haven't had my official one-on-one with you yet, but I somehow came across Brenda's profile on Instagram, and it was just meant to be. I was like, oh my gosh, I have been wanting to do a color analysis for a while. Yeah. And it just popped up from a mutual friend. And all of a sudden I'm at Brenda's event and it was just the most fun thing. But I would love to know, Brenda, as a holistic stylist, what makes you different than just regular styling that's out there?
So yeah, that's a great question. As a holistic stylist, I don't take just the fashion part of it and the outer image. I do feel that our inner image or inner selves are connected together to the outer. So in order to have a great presence or style that really aligns with you, we do have to work on our inner selves. That is your mindset and of course your mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
So
that's why I knew I was attracted to you. I was okay, holistic. She's using, you're using these terms that we use in the chiropractic world, right? So before we get into why holistic styling is so important, especially for those of you who are healers and leaders and entrepreneurs, I know a lot of healers and people in that realm, the professional realm rather, listen to this podcast. Okay. Before we get into why that's important, because I've experienced the benefit, but I would love to know what's your journey? Tell us your, not from birth, let's say, but give us how did you get into this? What inspired you to step into this world?
So it has been a very long journey for me, which is why I do, because it doesn't have to be. So before I started this, I had very low self-esteem, confidence. I really didn't look at myself in the mirror and thought I was beautiful. I was always nitpicking at different parts of my body, just comparing myself to social media and whatever society tells us the beauty is. And I would see myself and I'm well, I'm not that. And then I have children. So I was comparing my new body to pre-kids. And I'm things aren't the same. And I would just kind of not be kind with myself. Yeah. And eventually I kind of grew tired of it. And the reason for that is that I have a daughter. She's 22 now. And
Believe it or not, by the way, y'all, Brenda does, I'm like, when you first said that, I just had to say this. I was like, you do not have a 22-year-old.
Oh my God. Thank you. Yeah. And when she was around 15, I noticed that her confidence level wasn't really where I thought it should be based on how I perceived I nurtured her. And I took a deep kind of look into what was going on. And I saw that it was me, that she was more picking up on how I treated myself than how I treated her. And so it was a very big moment, like a big epiphany for me to realize. It was very sad at the same time that I've been like that to myself. So I said, if anybody deserves self-love, it's me. So I need to start with myself. So yeah, I started shifting that perception that I have for myself and just making it into a more positive self-image. And not only that helped me, but I did notice also the change in my daughter and how she perceived herself.
Wow. So. I'm grateful that you started with that, just like how you noticed it in your kids. Cause when we think about the energy, like lioness energy, right? Yes. How so many women listen to this podcast who also have kids. And something I notice is they'll, as they're raising young girls or even young boys, whatever, noticing how our actions influence them so much, even at such a subconscious level.
Yes.
And so I love hearing like, okay, I'm noticing this in my kid, right? My little lion or lioness cub.
Yes.
And reflecting it back to you rather than like, okay, there's nothing I'm necessarily doing wrong rather, but like, how can I love myself? Because neurologically, those kids pick up on so much.
They pick
and
up
you get that as a parent, right?
100%. I've noticed that with my other 3 boys as well. But mainly it was my daughter. It was like, I want you to be, because I was never confident through my childhood up until adulthood. I was never, so I'm like, I want my daughter to be what I couldn't be. I want her to have what I didn't have. So here I was nurturing, you're beautiful. You can do anything you want. Nothing can stop you. Yet like in front, when I would stand in the mirror, I would say completely different things to myself.
Yep.
So she picked up on that energy. It's not that she heard me. It's like she could see my body language, my energy. They could feel it.
She's like, Mom, this is bullshit.
Yeah, probably.
Like, even though you're not saying it, I can sense it.
Probably.
Right?
It's like, oh, you're being a little hypocritical, aren't you? So.
Isn't it like kids? I don't have any children, but I work with a lot of kids and I hear from parents, like kids are such a mirror back to the things that we're meant to heal within ourselves.
Yes.
Like what a gift that your daughter gave you of like, oh,
100.
It's time to really own this, which you guys will get to know Brenda more. And we're doing an event here in September, depending on when you're listening to this, but you'll just see how much like this woman really pours into other people. And I know like our relationship is, we just met like a month ago or so?
Yeah, I would say.
But I can just tell how much you pour into people and you believe in people, but it's like owning it ourselves, right? Which can be a lot of the challenge, when we all deal with our own versions of imposter syndrome or talking, ways about ourselves. But the more that we can own it in ourselves, we give others that permission to really own it in them too.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I would say it's not an easy journey, but a well worth it.
Yes, 100%.
To kind of become your own best friend, become your number one fan, and treat yourself again. The one of the exercises that I did in my journey is I wrote a letter to a friend having a problem, and then I wrote the same letter as what would I say to myself, and it was completely different. And I was like, why is there such a difference in this? It was saddening. It was like life-changing.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
By the way, y'all, if you see a little fly flying around, we've got friends. I kind of want to like smash it, but our AC went out yesterday in the office. And so we had like the door open. And so we welcomed all these little critters in. So if you see little flies, they're just joining the party.
Yes. Welcome.
Welcome flies. So, okay. So you started noticing this with your daughter and you started having your own self-awareness.
Yes.
Tell me like, because Project Lioness is all about having bold, raw, real conversations in life and really, opening up, which you do so beautifully. So you started having these awarenesses. Mm-hmm. How did you actually get into like the industry in your business? Because I know, you were doing things before.
Yeah.
And then you became an entrepreneur, which is its own freaking journey.
I did. Right. It is, but I love it. Honestly, I feel like that's what I'm made for.
For sure.
Sometimes it seems hard, but I'm like, I love it though. Mm-hmm. So after, just having that awareness, it did come with like what sometimes would be called like the dark night of the soul. Yeah. I went through that. And honestly, it was a very rough few months for me. At times I was like, am I going to make it? I'm like, I have to. I have all these beautiful people in my life. And that's when I started doing yoga, meditation, just really looking for other modalities because I knew that there was something deeper that I was craving, not just like, hey, give me pills and I'll be okay. I knew that it was deeper. Like my intuition was like, we need to do something. And so that's how I got into the holistic part of it. And I loved fashion. I love shopping. I love clothing. And I noticed that during that rough period, I didn't get ready. I was just in my sweatpants, and I've noticed that my energy level was like on the ground. Like I wasn't helping. Then when I started on these different modalities, I started getting dressed. I started to put makeup on back into almost like my regular routine. And I noticed how much better I felt, not only taking care of myself with these modalities, but also like showing up for myself every day. Even if it was just lipstick or my hair up and cute earrings, like still jeans or t-shirts, I felt good. And I was like, there is something in here. So I said, I love how I'm feeling. I'm so much more confident than I was. I bet there is a lot of women out there like me who look in the mirror and they don't love what they see. Or they're not harnessing that power. It's almost like wearing a superhero cape. Yes. The superheroes have that special outfit or cape, and then they feel that they can take over the world or help the world.
Right.
And that's how I felt in my outfit. So I wanted to do the same thing for other women. And so I went for style. It's called style coaching, which it's a mix between life coaching and personal styling.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was, I just figured that was who you were.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize there was a life coaching component. That's amazing.
There is a life coaching component, which goes into mindset and again, mind, body, soul, and style.
Cool.
So I don't know, like the universe just put it out there for me without doing much research. I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do. It is what I want to. And that's when I wanted to do, but then like at the same time I was noticing other stylists doing different things, and I wanted to do what's going to make me money, and when I started, as soon as I started, I almost wanted to quit because it wasn't deep enough for me.
Yep.
I was like, seems very superficial. Like, I just don't want to go shopping and the looks, like I want to go deeper. Mm-hmm. And that's when I decided I will push more of the holistic, and it's just going to take me where it's going to take me. Yeah. But at least I'm going to love what I'm doing for other people.
Yeah. And like working with the whole person, right? And,
yes.
I think it's so important. Something that I want to highlight that you said is like when you would wake up and, a lot of people, I think when we think about clothes or makeup, we think it's some external surface thing. But as you alluded to, you can do it for yourself.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not to try to put on this like whatever performance. Although some of us, like for me, I speak a lot and do this type of thing. But it's that inside out phenomena.
Oh yeah.
That I think what you speak to differently than what I've seen in maybe like the fashion industry. Like this is about you loving you and doing it for you, not because you're trying to, please someone else or people please, but like, no, I love myself so that I'm going to wake up and do this. And I know you have inspired me. Like I work from home a couple days of the week coaching, and it can be very easy for me to be like, oh yeah, like yoga sweatpants or yoga leggings and like throwing a, whatever, a sweatshirt, but I'm like, you know what? I'm inspired by Brenda, like, because I've seen some of your posts, like, hey, even if you work from home, taking care of yourself and like putting yourself together because you love yourself can totally show up differently on my coaching calls 100%. Or how I'm working with clients, even if they can't see me. Like I can feel the difference.
You can feel the difference. Absolutely. Your energy level, just not just like your energy as far as like your energy as far as like how much you can achieve, but just your actual body's energy is lifted. And I always say like your reflection of the outside represents what's going on the inside, and especially as business owners that can project to our clients and whether they want to work with us, I think, or not, or like, so I always say like, dress to manifest.
Yeah. I love that. Dress to manifest. It's true though. Right. And it's like, again, taking that time for yourself like you did. And it's like, okay, it can totally elevate your energy, even if, you don't have to dress like we are every single day.
No,
but
you can.
You can. Brenda does. I know. You probably sleep in this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm always impressed by her outfits. And you're helping me achieve that in my own unique way. About that. I'm super pumped. Okay. So when did you start your business?
I started, I want to say, I lose track of time.
I know.
So like 5 years ago, I started it like very part-time.
Yeah.
I was a personal stylist at Nordstrom for a while, and while doing my business at the same time.
Wow.
But yeah.
The true entrepreneurial spirit. Like the side hustle turns into the main hustle.
Yeah. Definitely the side hustle. I was afraid to let go of, something like the income and things like that. And I was like, but I was really loving like what I was doing through mindful styling 100%.
What was the moment where you're like, okay, this is like, I'm all in?
It was the moment. So I loved the people that I would work with at Nordstrom. I was usually working with professional women, and I was noticing like, oh my gosh, like these women have like achieved so much career wise and life wise that, life tells you that this is what success is, and they had it. And I didn't see and I didn't feel energy wise the confidence I felt. Also with a lot of them, I did feel almost like the little girl kind of like still trying to find her place and take up space, even though they had these amazing positions. And I wish, and then I'm like, I wish I could like help them further, but it's corporate. So I would find like little conversations to kind of, get their gears going a little bit. And so I'm like, you know what? I want to reach people and be able to do fully what I know I can do and help them in the utmost possible way that I can.
Yeah. That's something that when we did the event with you, when I came as a guest and did the color analysis as the group, that was something I really noticed. Like being a coach myself, you kind of like can sense other coaches' energy and how they work with people.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, she's definitely naming things that are like energetic. They're not just like things on the outside, but pulling that stuff from within people, which makes a really great coach, that intuition. But I think, I love what you speak to. Like there can be these accolades that people get, especially in business, like maybe it's revenue numbers or how big your company is. And sure, you can have all the, big blazers and the, great outfits. But if your energy from within doesn't match that, you're going to hit a roadblock or you're going to experience a blind spot. And you're going to think that in the 3-dimensional world, you need more stuff, when in reality, it's owning that energy it's an embodiment, right? It's
100%.
Totally embodiment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was noticing. Like they're not embodying the woman that they work so hard to, like they're not even like there, but they have, again, the career and everything. But I want them to feel it. Yes. I want them to own it. I want them to take up space and be unapologetically themselves, like this beautiful divine being that they are.
Yeah. I'm so excited for our event. I just like had a flash. I was like, this is going to be awesome. Okay. So the moment happened, stepped into your business.
Yes.
So tell us, if someone were to be curious about working with a holistic stylist, give us kind of like a brief overview. You don't have to disclose all your secrets.
Okay.
But, I know I am seeing this color, and maybe it's just my consciousness, but I am seeing so many more people doing these color analyses.
Yes, there are.
So
they are.
That's fascinating.
It is very,
yeah.
very
like, what is it? Just me? Like you learn something new, and you're like, "Is this me, or has this always been here? Is this the collective consciousness evolving into this? Is it both?" So give us a brief overview, and maybe you could talk about too, like as people come to the event in September, which Brenda and I will talk about at the end of the show, so you guys can know what we're up to. But what does that process look like? Like brief overview.
Yeah. So within my services, I do color analysis. I love color. I didn't always wear color. Again, it was just some limited beliefs from my childhood that like just kind of put that person away. But again, when I started just embodying this new Brenda that I was loving, I'm like, I want to be bold. I want to be, just shine. And so I started wearing color, and I came to learn that color has a lot of energy as well. So you mentioned something about like a lot of people are doing it now. And I'm wondering if it's because everybody we're growing as a collective. So we're becoming more aware of the things, of the tools that are out there to enhance our energy and healing. So color has a lot of healing. I mean, they go, like each of our energy centers, have a color. So usually I sometimes, encourage people like, oh, if you're feeling, like you're, for example, your solar plexus or you need more confidence, like wear more yellow. Or if you need a little more grounding, like wear more red.
Yeah.
So I go really in depth into that. But I also, my goal is to help women as well as, kind of decode their bodies, like how to bring balance between their masculine and feminine energy and their style, because we can go into that so much.
Yeah, this could be like a 5-hour workshop.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of women actually are embracing more of their masculine in their wardrobes than they are their feminine. And I 100% understand why they do it. Like the masculine is the one that gets the stuff done.
Right.
And the ones, especially in business, like business owners or professional women that are like in spaces where it's mainly men, they need to kind of embrace more of that masculinity to be taken seriously, or they feel like they have to. So we put away a little bit of our feminine energy away. So what I do is it's like, let's create a beautiful balance because I feel like that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, we need both. And I talk about that in my coaching too, from more of the mental, emotional perspective. Like at times it's important to have the structure and get things done and be super organized and like go out into the world. And then on the other side, it's equally important energetically and even nervous system wise to have like the receiving and the rest and the like knowing more of the space and the energy and being able to flow and be flexible and adaptable and more kind of overall perspective versus very focused.
Right.
So I love that you speak to that. Like you can have both.
Yeah, you 100% can in your outfits, in your life and everything. For example, right now, you're beautifully representing
Thank you.
A great balance of both. So you're
Brenda,
wearing
help me with these.
You're wearing the structured blazer, which I love, and you're wearing a neutral, but then you have your lace, you
guys have to watch YouTube, by the way, so you can see this.
Yes. Yeah. So you're beautifully representing that balance that I feel like it's needed in our, so that's my goal for women to get to know their bodies, what type of fabrics really enhance their beautiful features. It's not about, my styling, it's not about hiding, but it's about embracing and showing the things that you love and how to create, again, a balance between in your wardrobe with everything you do in life.
I feel like something that I really appreciated when we had our onboarding call and even just in conversation at the first event that I attended was, and I think even in your social media, you guys have to follow her, Mindful Styling, right?
Yes.
On Instagram. You said like it's really common for women, especially as our bodies change as we get older, if you have kids, or like I went through a big bodybuilding journey and I used to be an athlete. So I'm learning how to be in this body now and how you can accentuate what you love versus like you said, not covering up things you don't like.
Right.
But it's like, how can you work with the things that you love and accentuate it and feel confident regardless of kind of what phase or stage you're in? Because again, I know a lot of moms and female business owners listen to this and like our bodies change. We have hormones.
Yes.
And, you know, it can be easy to just want to like cover it all up. But then at what point are we just focusing on what we don't like versus enhancing what we love?
Yeah, right now we focus a lot on what we don't like, and that gives an energy. An energy. It is a very different energy when you go out and you dress in a way that you want to hide your tummy or you want to hide your arms or your legs or your thighs. Like at least I can feel the energy on someone and I can see it. Like, oh, this person dressed more to hide something, rather than the energy when you dress to highlight something you love, whether your arms, your eyes, your hair, your anything that you love. Like the energy that you get from those two are so different.
Totally.
And you actually like, I feel that when you dress to highlight, you actually radiate this beautiful energy where you actually like encourage other people to do the same. Yes. Somehow I feel that it reflects, you can tell.
Yeah. It's life is a mirror, right?
Yes.
And even if you're not saying it, even if you're not, you know, it's all that subconscious that our nervous system can pick up on, which I love to geek out about that from the brain perspective. But we entrain to people's energy. If you guys don't know, entrainment means literally biological coherence. We're kind of like when women sync up on their cycles.
Yes.
Or like schools of fish move together or flocks of birds. We entrain to the energy of the field. And so why not accentuate? I love the highlight kind of paradox you create, but why not be the one who steps into the room and you influence the energy of the field because you're confident in who you are, regardless of what phase you're at in your body or, you know, whatever it is that you're working on.
I work with women that sometimes they tell me, I just don't want to look like too much. Or so just they go back into this. That I'm like, why? Why are you afraid to take up space? Like, don't be. Or they like want to dress down for some reason. I'm like, why? And they don't know. Honestly, it's just because they don't feel confident. Right. But after working together, they're like, oh, I feel really confident. I'm like, don't ever be afraid to take up space or to be the most dressed woman in the room, like, because you're radiating that energy and you're encouraging other people to do the same. So I always say, if you start dressing up at work and you see that everybody doesn't, and you start doing it and you start doing it over and over again, people are going to start noticing. And after a while, if you notice, people will start dressing up because you're raising the standard. Yep. And I just really love, you know, that just clothing has so much power. It just goes so much beyond just like the fashion that we see.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't even follow the fashion shows at all. Like, to me, that's like, I don't know, it's just not important. Yep. So
I also like that you speak to, in that piece alone, that you can have these staple items and it's not like fast, cheap fashion.
Right.
It's like have nicer things, like fewer nicer things that you can utilize and have a longer wear. Oh yeah. Right?
Yeah, it's more sustainable.
Absolutely. Because I know you and I, before we got on the show, we were just talking about holistic, like Brenda's very like holistically minded because I know a lot of chiropractors listen to this, but the ability to have it integrate with your life too. It doesn't have to feel like a waste. It can actually feel like it's integrated into that sustainability. Because I know fast fashion, unfortunately, I think is like really a hot trend right now.
It is.
Super
it has
cheap
been for
items.
A while. Yeah. And I think it is the number one, but it's up there in like pollution, like at least in the world. Yeah. And I've noticed, I'm not going to say I haven't bought in fast fashion.
Oh yeah.
We all have had, I think, but at least I have. And I can notice the difference, like in the piece that I'm wearing. So especially when we've talked about natural materials, they have a higher vibration than your polyester. Actually, I was learning that polyester has the same vibrational value as a dead body. What? Yes, as like linen and cotton.
Yeah.
And wool have higher vibrational frequencies, which can elevate your energy. And I'm like, oh, that is really nice.
That makes sense.
It does.
I mean, I like these jeans I'm wearing definitely have like stretch in them and I love them. And simultaneously, I know like there's probably plastic in them.
Yeah.
And especially us women, like there's so much exposure to like microplastics,
Yes.
especially in our clothing. So I think that is important to speak to is like, yeah, what if you could also elevate your health based on the clothing you're wearing because you have less exposure to these microplastics. And I'm not perfect. Like I'm a curvy person. And so I do appreciate a little stretch, but just even that, right, from the holistic perspective is really important to me, at least.
It is. And it's not about perfection.
No.
It's about just being aware of your choices.
Yes.
Just being aware and making little changes. It doesn't have to be like, again, perfection. Like, oh my gosh, I'd still wear some microplastics, but it's out there, but I became more aware of what I'm wearing, like whenever I can.
Yeah. It's the awareness piece, right?
Yes.
I think when you're aware of something, you have the power to change it.
Yes.
When you're aware of how your energy influences a room, okay, cool. Now you have the power to change it. Or I guess stay the same, but I'm not about that life.
Right. Do something with the information. Don't just sit on it. There's no point in having it and not acting on it.
Right. Well, I think that kind of demystifies the saying, knowledge is power. And it's like, it's yes. And you can have all the information and knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply it and actually integrate it and do something with it, you're not really going to get much further. So it's not power until you actually implement it. And when Brenda and I, by the way, you guys speak to the energy of power, it's not this like control over someone. I when I hear power, I think of like inner power.
Yes,
like empowered.
absolutely.
Like you're able to influence and create a ripple effect into the space while inspiring others around you versus like, I'm going to control you or I'm going to manipulate you. Because I think unfortunately, what you were speaking to earlier that I think is really important to speak to on this podcast is it can be easy to hear the word power or take up space or being the best dressed person in the room and think you're going to manipulate someone because power has unfortunately or like you're just there to, make sales. And it's like, no, it's so much more than that. And it's about, again, that inner game of how you can inspire other people to pull it out within themselves versus trying to control them.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Power can have like a negative, like can, come across negative and like selfish, but it has nothing to do with that at all. With when we talk about power, it's more about empowerment. Empowerment, because if you have empowerment, you're going to radiate that beautiful energy again onto other people and help them in their own journeys somehow. Like I never thought that my own journey would be helping people, like, that imposter syndrome, like, oh no. But, take up space. I am, and I'm so happy. Like people say, like, oh, you get paid to shop. I'm like, yeah. Yes.
Pretty great.
Yeah. I get paid and I love what I'm doing. I was actually listening to a song the other day. It was something about like, I love my job because I love what I do or something. I was like, hey, that's my song.
Yeah. And you've worked so hard to create that.
Yes.
Intentionally.
Yes.
And be in your own with it and own it yourself. And again, just giving other women permission, like, yes, you can be an entrepreneur and love what you do. Sure, there's challenging moments to entrepreneurship, but that's the game. And I think also just owning like, yeah, I'm fulfilled. I love what I do and not being ashamed to be like, yeah, I love what I do. I make good money. I get to help people. Like that's what I feel like I'm up to too in my own form. Yeah. But what I really created this podcast is to, take up space, like own I call it the lioness energy, which is being bold and, being ferocious, but also tender, like that nice masculine, feminine balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The feminine is more of that nurturing. And it's funny because when we go on vacation, I don't know if you guys notice, I've noticed that when I go on vacation, I dress differently. So I lean more into my feminine, because we just feel like more relaxed and just nurturing. And then we come back home and we're like, I don't know how to dress anymore. Like I bought all these clothes on vacation. But this is like, so that's why it's really like great to just bring balance within like your wardrobe. That's so true. Whenever possible. Yeah.
I'm reflecting on although there's my husband and I like to hike. I'm like, I don't know if I'm necessarily feminine when I'm hiking, but definitely when I've gone to like where there's an ocean.
Yeah. When there's an ocean,
you like almost want to take on the energy of the environment.
Right.
Like flow and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like if you go to Italy, you'll probably wear like flowy and just feel like anything near an ocean. Yeah. Absolutely. You feel the energy of the flow. Like you can rest.
You can relax.
Yeah.
So with our kind of remaining time, Brenda, I'd love to talk about what we are up to for September.
I'm so excited.
I love that you do these, by the way. So if you guys do reach out to Brenda personally and you want to do like an initial color analysis or a styling session like I'm doing, you can do that on her website. What I love that, because how many like group events have you done in the past?
I've done probably about, I want to say 4.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that you do that because it does make, some of your initial things that you do like fun in a group setting. So if you guys go on your website, on her website, you'll see that you can do a color analysis, and that's part of what she's going to be doing with us here at Inspire Life on Sunday, September 8th.
Yes.
2024, because I know some of you are new to the podcast and you're listening to 2023 episodes. So it's on Sunday, September 8th, 2024. And you get a little taste of Brenda's magic and helping you really know your color analysis, number one, as well as being able to be in community. We're going to also have the ability to bring some of your freshly used items.
Oh my God.
If you've got like 10 to 15 items that you're like, I'm kind of ready to be done with this.
Yeah.
Please bring those because we'll do a clothing swap, which I loved. Actually, these are from, you guys, what I'm wearing now. Go on YouTube and watch this. These are from the clothing swap.
They are, right?
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
They're meant for you.
They were, and they're like in my palette. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I wanted like a masculine. I walked into when I signed up, I was like, I'm walking away with an oversized blazer. And I didn't know I did. Wow. And I didn't know my color analysis, of course, until Brenda did it with me. And boom, like they were there. So it was meant to be.
That's so amazing. Yeah. Yes. So I'm really excited about this. I love doing the community and just, just a very beautiful group of women just having fun and uplifting each other in fashion. I mean, and I think we're having some
charcuterie and some bubbly, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So
that's awesome. Choice. Yes. And bring things to swap. So if you haven't worn something in a year or you feel like you evolved from that piece, which is totally okay. Our style continuously evolves, which means we're growing. But go into your closet and find pieces that you just don't feel radiant and divine in. That doesn't mean that anyone else won't feel, radiant and divine in them. Just like, and so bring those pieces over and have them find a new home or serve someone else.
Yep. You never know.
Right?
It doesn't fit you. It probably fits someone who's supposed to be at that event too.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you guys come, like I said, I'll put the details in the show notes. So that's Sunday, September 8th. We're starting at 1. So we'll have some fun. We'll have some bubbly or non-alcoholic, whatever your choice is. We'll have some snacks. And then we'll get into it. And Brenda is a magician. I feel like it's really fun.
Thank you.
It was really fun to like watch you go through everyone and like know so you guys will walk away with your color analysis.
Yes, they will. Right? They will walk out with a palette of their color season and their flow. Well, their season and the flow palette that they're in, because there's the 4 seasons and then there is flow palettes within those seasons. Yeah. So they'll get a cute little cart and a digital file for that as well.
Yeah. The digital file was great. I saved it on my phone. And I look at my little palette thing, like when I'm like, if I am kind of looking at things, I'm like, okay, is this in my palette? So it's really fun. So we'll put the details in the show notes, you guys. As of this recording, which this will be released in like probably a couple weeks, We've got 6 spots left, and my sense is it is going to sell out.
It is.
So that's going to happen.
Is.
So make sure you get your spot. Bring a friend. If you've never been to Inspire Life, I'm thinking we'll probably like do it up here because there's good lighting.
There is absolutely good lighting.
I'll let you make that decision.
Yeah.
Where we like actually do the analysis. Because back there it gets a little...
It looks a little dark, but I feel like these windows would be perfect for that.
Okay, cool.
So they can see honestly, it is literally, I've heard like, this is like magic.
It is.
When I move the flags from the different intensities, colors, it's like, you could see how literally some colors flush the color off your face and some colors push more of a yellow, making you look a little jaundiced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
jaundiced. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes you like, maybe you should go check your
liver levels.
Yeah. It's just the color.
It is super cool. Like when I went, I was like, whoa. And you do such an amazing job. Like, you can tell like you're an expert at it. You just pull it out. But it's cool to do it as a group because everyone's like, oh yeah. Like I can see that.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's just, community is so amazing.
Yes.
Like, and just feels like, uplifting.
It is. And it's important. And
it is.
I'm grateful that we've been able to do that more because, during like COVID times, it was challenging to not be in community. Yeah. So coming out with this, you guys, it's going to be awesome. Brenda's going to be there. I'm going to be there. It's going to be super fun. You're going to leave super empowered and go home with so many tools to start elevating. And then if you want, like me, I chose to kind of up level my game and work with Brenda one-on-one. So we get to do that in a couple weeks. And she's really amazing at what she does. So anything else?
You mentioned COVID. So if someone has been feeling stuck in their style and just don't know how to come out, if your body changed during that time, come out and just, step. It's a really good way to step into kind of a new version of you after all of that. You're not the only one. I've worked with many that have. And I invite them to come out and really encourage it, honestly. I do.
That's a really great point. All right, everyone. Any last words of wisdom, Brenda? They can find you on Instagram.
Yes, they can find me on Instagram at Mindful Styling or on my website at mindful-styling.com. I'm like,
we'll put it in the show notes.
My brain works faster than I can speak at times.
I feel you. I feel like my brain's kind of like, woo.
Last words is, don't be afraid to take up space. Don't be afraid to dress up. Like, do it. It won't come off as, a lot of people think it will come off as like too strong. Doesn't matter. Like, who cares? You're the only one that matters.
Hell yeah. I love that.
So,
Great words of wisdom, Brenda. Well, thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your energy, your wisdom. I know you have inspired me so much going from being a tomboy growing up and an athlete to like really owning my masculine and feminine energy as an embodied entrepreneur. So thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you for allowing me to have this space and reach more people and, changing lives together, right?
Of course. All right, you guys. Well, this is the Project Lioness podcast. And as always, peace, love, keep inspiring. See you in the next episode.
See you.
Bye. Thank you for joining the Project Lioness podcast. Did you find value in today's episode? Help us impact the lives of others by sharing this podcast with someone you know who would resonate and benefit from the Project Lioness message. Excited to hear more? We invite you to subscribe on whatever platform you're tuning in on. And we'd be so grateful for you to leave us a review about what you enjoy most, as well as what you'd like to hear more of. Thank you so much for all of your support. Sincerely yours in power, purpose, and play. Dr. Mel with the Project Lioness podcast. Keep rising, keep roaring, and keep inspiring.